Ann Kornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange. I'm here to teach beginners how to get started in China painting and also to encourage those of you that have been painting to paint along with us. And today we're finishing the last of the luster series. So if you're just tuning in, there were 4 in the series. The information that you're getting is the information that I got from Nancy Bergman when I took her class at the Porcelain Art School of Indiana. I learned a ton, and I'm not sharing all that I learned from her because this class is really geared at beginners. So I'm trying to show you some of the basics, but she got much more involved in the finishing of her pieces. She put beads on, she put gold on, and I will show you some embellishments, but I'm going to show you easy ones that a beginner could do. I'm not going to get into all of that. Plus, I never really got that far with my piece. My piece is behind me. I don't know if you can see it right there in the back. And I'm going to drop her link here too. That's her link to Bergman lusters. Now, the reason you will like her lusters is that, first of all, they come in a wide mouth bottle. So a brush will fit in the bottle and you won't be wasting lusters. The other thing is she's really good about shipping and everything. She has a lot of colors. They're very thin. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for some of you that might be used to using older lusters, but I do like them. So just to kind of go through what I've done so far, you know, we started out doing just the ornaments where we painted the ornaments. Then we dipped them like this, and they came out like this, okay? Now, I just finished this one. I put a little bird on it. So this one is done, and it will be going to the mall. And then I started doing hummingbirds. And this was my first attempt, which turned out looking more like I don't know what. But anyway, that was my first attempt. Now, let me show you. I've been working all week on them. These are some of the more recent ones. That's one I just did. These are all ornaments. I'm going to leave the background on these white. There's another one. This one I'm going to touch up a little today and show you how to do that. This is one I did last night. And I'm going to make these flowers on the side. I thought I had purple. Apparently I didn't. So I'm going to try to make them a little more purpley. And then this is another one I did. And I'm just experimenting with the different colors to see what the colors look like when I use them and all of that. Today we're going to learn a number of things. We're going to learn how to apply resist to the luster so that you can paint the background a different color. That's the first thing. And there's a trick to it. And then we're going to talk about pouncing luster. Those are 2 things that I learned there that I want to share with you that I think beginners will get a lot of benefit out of. And then we're also going to end by doing some pen work, or in my case, it will be with a brush because I cannot work a pen to save my soul. And we'll add this kind of thing. See how I've got it here? I've got these little floop-de-doos and the little stamens and stuff. We're going to add that. So before you apply resist to luster, you absolutely need to take and wipe the luster down with turpentine. I use this turpentine. I get it at Dick Blick. You don't have to get this turpentine, but make sure you get a pure turpentine. The reason I say that is there's one that has like a stripping agent in it. You don't want that. You don't want that. It'll make a mess of things. So, you know, check with people in your area and see what they use and what they can get. I can get that from Dick Blick. I can order it online. And it's, just in case you want to know the details, this is UTRECHT, and it's a gum spirits turpentine. I like this. And the reason I like it is because it doesn't smell very much. And if you're a person that's affected by smells, that has very little smell to it. So you take paper towel, put the turpentine on it, and just wipe your piece down. You want to make sure it's all treated with that. And then you're going to apply your resist. So this is the way I store my red resist. I learned one time from somebody about this, and so my resist doesn't dry very fast this way. I got my red resist, I opened it up, and then before I closed it, I put saran wrap over it and put the lid on it, and I store it upside down, and that keeps it from drying out quite so fast. Then when I got to the school, on the way to the school, I realized it was kind of gummy. A couple people suggested I just add a drop or two of water to it and stir it up. Well, I did that. That didn't work real well, but I know I can put a drop or two of water in it and put it in the microwave. Nancy's not a fan of that, Nancy Bergman. And so I bought luster from her. Her luster was so thin, it was just dripping, like I said, down the side of what I was trying to work on. So what I ended up doing was taking my gummy luster, her new luster, and mixing the two together, and it worked very well for me. I needed a little tooth to the luster so it didn't drip. The resist is water soluble. So I have 3 brushes. I always need a different size, so I started getting these cheap brushes and just getting them in different sizes. And I use these to paint my resist on with. Now, when I'm painting something delicate like this, I want to use the thinnest brush, and that's why I have this one. And this is the one I'm going to use to finish this bird that I've been working on. Then you rinse them out with water. They come pretty clean with water. And then I just keep them separate. And I write on them with a permanent marker, resist, so that I know these are my resist brushes, and I keep them separate. There. The red you see on here is actually the resist. I'm going to open my resist so you can see it. Take the top off, and I'm going to take my plastic wrap off. Initially, you won't have the plastic wrap, obviously. And I'm going to just put that way over there. And I'm just going to take my brush. Now, this is dry already. But remember, I've already taken turpentine on a rag, and I've wiped the whole thing in turpentine. If you don't do that, the resist will not come off. It won't lift at the end. And I'm just going to take, this is really soupy, so it should work just fine, and paint over it. Now, the secret is not too thin, not too heavy. If you put it on too heavy, it's just as bad as putting it on too thin. I also use it to kind of even things out because I'm going to be eventually putting little lines and things on here to kind of, because the luster always seems to run a little bit, so you can reshape by putting some of the resist on the way you want it, and then when you do the final cleaning up and embellishments with the color here, you can correct those areas. So that's it. I'm done. I did the rest because I wanted it to dry so I could show you how to apply the luster over it. But I need to let this dry temporarily. So let's work on my other thing here. And I'm going to cover this back up. And I put this back on it. Yep. And then I'll put this back over the top like this. And seal it very well. Okay? Now, I did most of this because I wanted it to be dry so that then I could show you how to do it. But I'm going to let it dry a little bit. And you can see my setup. I have my tissue paper. And down below that, here, I'll tilt it just a little. I think you can see then. I have my, can you see my paper down here? Yeah, this is the brown paper bag underneath. I have my tissue paper folded with the fold towards me. And that's what I'm going to use when I use luster. Right now, though, before we get to, I'm going to let that dry for a minute, and I'm going to take one of my birds, and I'm just going to bring him over. This one needs a little bit of enhancement. Now, Nancy did it with luster, and she did it in a funnel pen. It looks like this, and it has this funnel on the end of it. I tried that, but it kept running for me, and I was getting frustrated. So what I've done instead is I just take a couple of complementary colors of paint and my scroller, like this. I take my scroller, and I'm going to make a nice point on it. And then I have colors here that I like to use on these that I found. I experimented quite a bit to see what colors worked well. And what I came up with was, this is a red grape. This one in here is a red grape. And this is a navy, although my navy is awfully, awfully bright. I don't know where I got that from. So I'm going to use red grape on this so you can kind of see how it looks. I'm using China paint now. So I mix it the way I always mix China paint, okay? And I have a very fine brush. And I'll put this other piece next to it just so you can see what I'm doing. I want to kind of duplicate this. Let's move them both over this way and down this way a little. Okay. I'm going to turn this guy around. I find, and I had to experiment, but I find that painting from the bottom up, meaning painting up and down, upside down, seems to work better for me. You also need to practically dip the paint every time you do it. You can put paint, China paint, over luster. I have seen people try to put luster over China paint. It works a little. It comes out looking like metallic. So I'm just doing a little bit of enhancement on these. Nothing fancy. Okay. And then I want to do down here, I want to do the stamen. You're going to need oil. So I go into my oil quite a bit in my paint just to get it. I want the middle one a little longer. And then these I can bring out this way if I want. I just feel like with China paint, I have a little better control. I just was losing the control using the luster. And I really like this color, quite frankly, with this. So, and then, now I don't do the leaves. I suppose you could. I was just concerned about it maybe getting too busy. So I'm just sticking to doing these little guys here. I'm going to move along a little bit here. Nancy kept telling me, slow down, slow down. And I said, you know what? I can't. I paint fast. I'm sorry. So this is how I finish this off. I'm going to do that on all of these. And this is while the resist is drying on the other. I suppose you could outline everything if you wanted to. You could put little veins in. You could do all kinds of stuff. But you see, as I'm doing this, I'm cleaning it up. And I'm also, I think, trying to give it a little more personality. Got a little there I don't want. And it is getting kind of busy. So, okay, here I'm just going to do one and maybe one over this way. Let me do it this way. I think it'll work better. Make those a little bigger. Okay, now I'm going to change. I don't know what the blue will look like. The other blue I had was really a true navy. This is a little bright, but it might be fine. You never know. And I'm just going to just do a little cleaning up. Okay, now I want to do the middle of him in yellow. Let's go back to our lusters. I'm going to close this up. The luster that I had here, I lost. And I want a little luster here. Now, I don't have any other color around there. So if I'm very, very careful, I can add some other color in there and it'll be fine. But again, I have to switch over to my luster brushes. Now your luster brushes cannot have oil in them. And you can't touch the oil on here. It will make a difference. So I'm going to get some fine luster brushes. Let me find one here. This is a good one. Oh, you know what? I think I want to do that with, I think I want to do everything with yellow. So here's my yellow brush. I have a fat one and a thin one. I have them marked with yellow on them because I think Nancy had said, and it is important, that you keep the yellow and the mother of pearl separate. I think it's just because they're such light colors that if you're not careful, you can, you know, really contaminate them and make them icky. So here's my luster. This is the color I'm going to be applying. I'm going to undo it and put it behind just like she taught me. My brush is a little bit stiff, so I've got a little essence here. I'm just gonna take the essence and see, it's a yellow brush. See how the yellow stays in the brush? And I'm just gonna wipe it back and forth until it's totally clean. Oops, put my little lid back in there. I don't use essence very often. It's kind of expensive. And then I'm just going to dip in here and wipe a little bit on the side. And I want to paint his belly because I want it to be a lot brighter. Now you can do this with any of the colors that you want to have be brighter on the second fire. Every time you add luster over another luster, it will do one of two things. First of all, if you want a chartreuse, according to Nancy, you add the yellow first and put the green over it. But I've already put the green on because I really didn't like the chartreuse. Let me show you. This is how my chartreuse kind of turned out. This is on this vase. Yeah, you can kind of see it. And I don't care for that. And then I'm going to add some yellow to the feathers. So I'm just going to wipe that off again, and I'm just going to go. Now the yellow is a nice color because it doesn't overwhelm. Okay? And I think for him, that's really all I'm going to do. I'm pretty happy with it. Now you notice his eye. I tried to put gold on his eye. And oh, here, let me wipe this off. I wasn't very successful. And the gold, I mean, it's there and it shows up, but it's not what I wanted. So I'm closing my luster real well. So because this is an ornament, where's the hole? Oh, there. I think I can apply something that, you know, a little dot or something from like Joann's, or a little jewel or something. People aren't going to be washing this, so I think I can do that. So I may still embellish it a little bit with something like that. Okay, the purpose of essence is to clean off, and there may be more uses, but the purpose is to clean your brushes, I think, and to keep your, and sometimes for older lusters, people were adding drops of essence to sort of thins it to the point where if you clean your brush, obviously, it cleans it completely off. It's not cheap. I got mine from Maryland, China. Nancy also sells some, and it's clear. And I use this to clean my brush, but at the very end, in between, she suggested we use, and it works for me, but make sure that you have, it's terpenoid natural, and you don't have any oil in it. You haven't used it for China painting. This is terpenoid natural. It comes in this green container, or with the green label. And I get that at Dick Black, or you can also get it at Joann's. I imagine Hobby Lobby may also have it. Let me turn it around so you can see what it's going to look like. That's how it's going to look. And the nice thing about the China paint, now you know luster is over here, but the nice thing about the China paint is if I want to go and add a little color here, I could do that. If I wanted to add, you see these tendrils? Those are done with luster. So I wouldn't put that on now because I might accidentally get into the other and it would just change the color and wreck them. I think it's just easier to do it with regular paint. I do. It doesn't shine though. So if you want the shine all the way through, don't use regular paint. Get one of those funnel pens and do what I just did with the regular paint with luster. Okay. So now, all right, we're going to make a pouncer first. If you have cotton balls, you can use them. I happen to have some wool here, which I really, really like. And it just pounces so well because it's very soft. So I have wool. And I'm going to take and cover it with, and I know you may know how to make a pouncer, but you may not have made one this way. I'm going to put plastic wrap down. I'm going to put my wool in the center, or you can use cotton balls. So maybe if I just pull from the four corners, sometimes that works better. And then just keep pulling it up like this. Hang on, I got to squish it in there. There we go. And then I'm going to turn it around, and what you want is a nice flat bottom. There we go. And you're going to turn it around, and then this is sports wrap. You can get it at athletic stores, and you put 2 layers of the sports wrap over it. Now, how do you know what sports wrap is? It's thin. See how thin it is? And it pulls. I got mine at like Dunham Sports. If you go in and ask for it, it comes on a roll like this. And you should be able to, what does it say inside? This one says Mueller, M-U-E-L-L-E-R. But you should be able to go in and ask, and they can direct you if you've never gotten it. You can use it for a lot of things. I also use it for structure, like when you're putting the structure on to pounce. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up around here. Now I've got way too much. Okay, let me put, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put one way and one the other. Ah, there. I'll put this one this way and this one this way. Okay, so I've got it crisscrossed, and then I'm going to pull this one up first. It'll still be double at the bottom, and then I'll pull this one up second because I've got so much here. Okay, and I'm going to gather it up and twist it. And then I have these little, I don't know if you've ever seen these. You can get them for little kids' hairs, and they're rubber bands, and they're great. And you can use these. So let me get a couple here. I usually take 2 because one always breaks. And I just put them around like this. Get on there. And these little edges didn't pull up real well, so I'm going to keep them out of the way. Come here, you. And you just have to play with it until you get it the way you want it. Okay, so now, here's the little guy we did, okay? And we covered him with resist. The plastic is so that when we use lusters, they're going to absorb into here. And it's going to get messy like this one that I used. And if you change color, you have to change your wrap. But the plastic protects the cotton balls or whatever you have in your pouncer from getting the color absorbed in it. So all you have to do with this little guy is take off the, here. I'm going to take this off like this and peel it down and then put 2 more of these on, and this won't go through. You know, it'll be, I can use it for a new color and I don't have to keep changing the cotton ball. Alrighty, so we put down the turpentine, wiped it with turpentine, put the resist on. The resist is now dry. I'm going to pick a color, and think he has yellow on his wings, so I don't, well, I'll still do yellow because I think yellow is an easier background. So here's the yellow. Use it right from the jar, and you're just going to dip, and you want it soupy, okay? And then you're going to take your pouncer and start pouncing. That will make the background nice and even and, oops, get it out of the way, clear. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay, now I'm going to take the next section and do it. Now, I know I have yellow on this bird's feathers, so, and that's all you do to pounce it. The secret, I believe, and I think Nancy can tell if I'm wrong, but the secret is keep it wet so that as you pounce, it comes off nice and even. Then let it dry, and then I'm going to go and take my resist off. Now, when you take the resist off, you have to lift a corner of it. Here, I've got a couple of things here I can use. You have to lift the corner of it very gingerly. Oh, one thing I should tell you about putting resist on. I learned this in Canada. See that? There you go. Now, if you have a lot of little things like this and you're putting resist on, make sure that you attach them to each other. Somehow run a little resist between them because it'll make it easier to come off. Pulling off itty bitty little pieces is very difficult. And it's much easier if you have them, see all those, here. See all those vines? It's much easier if you have the resist. Now see, I'm not very good at putting my resist on. Should have been right to the edge there so that I had better. Now this is yellow, so I think, oh, too late. Okay. And then you're just gonna start pulling the resist off. That's how quick the luster dries. Now obviously I put it on right because it's coming off, and it's coming off without much problem. And see how I attached all those? Look at that. There we go. It comes off very easily. I had one of my more recent birds. Yeah, that was yellow back there, so I'll have to put another color on after I fire it. But anyway, that's how it comes out. And you have a nice even background. The only other thing that I would like to do before I do that is I'd like to get this bird a little more yellow in his belly. So I'm going to just real quickly here, got my yellow brush. I'm just going to put a little more yellow there because that was under the resist, if you recall. There we go. Oh, come down there, okay? I actually like that a lot. I would say take a class if you get a chance, because that's the best way to learn how to do things, and it'll give you a whole new perspective on how this is done. She's fired up to 15 times. If you fire too hot, you lose the color. Okay. And the other thing that's really hard with lusters, I have found, is that getting used to the fact that they aren't the color that you paint. This is a good example here. I thought I was getting purple, and it turned blue. And I think I probably had the right jar out, but I just didn't even think about it. Pick up those brushes, keep painting. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.